before we get on to the footy questions, just reading this press release, you've obviously got a deep commitment to MND and the association.
Yeah, certainly. So the Perth West Australian Motor MND Association Motor Neurone, so ambassador for that, and MND Work Week. And personally, when I was in Victoria, so my mum sort of come down with MND, and it wasn't a great end, but at that time, the MND Association of Victoria provided terrific support and assistance with for my mother and my family as well. So when I was asked to, am I able to represent MND and be an ambassador, I was really keen to do that. It's a really worthwhile cause. It's sort of not at the front of the mind for a lot of people, but it is an insidious disease, and families and people inflicted with it sort of need all the support they can get. So they do a wonderful job, and anything I can do to support that and raise awareness, we do that,
Could you share a couple of how tough it was for you and why it's important for people to see?
Yeah, look, for me personally, it's sort of, I'm just on the sidelines. I was sort of just supporting my mother, my wife and Kirsten. Look, there's plenty of struggles in the community, so I'm sort of loath to go into too much detail, except to say it was an experience that was tough, but, we all grew out of it, and you find a bit about yourself, and I found a bit about my mum and her courage, and so, look, but that's in the past. It really is about, families going through it now, and trying to assist those in the community that need it. There's plenty of illness out there, and charities, so. Just anyone can contribute to the MND Association. It's a really worthy cause, and I know there's plenty out there, and everyone needs their day in the sun where they need some support, so anything we can do, we're keen to help.
You'll be wearing a flower in the box, will you? Is that your first time?
Yeah, it's sort of, it's represents MND, it's sort of resilient, doesn't lose its colour, and, it's just really symbolic of the battle and the resilience and courage that those inflicted with MND need. So look, I appreciate you asking. It is, I understand it's a side issue to the footy, but yeah, it's one close to the heart.
Great to lock away a couple of youngsters this morning with contract extensions.
Yeah, look, it's always a worry, interstate clubs to go home factor, but it's forced interstate clubs like Fremantle to do it incredibly well. The wellbeing committees and the support, and ultimately, whether it be a high-profile player or your youngsters, it's a sign of your environment of your club that they feel they can get to where they want to in their career, and it's a really good environment for growth. And obviously the commercial aspect can be met as well. But as a young player, you've got to see yourself getting to where you want to go. Can the environment help me get there, and the people employed to do it help me get there? And it's a sign of confidence by those young players in the club and the direction that the Development Academy, in particular Simon Lloyd, is taking with them and helping them grow. So it's a really great sign, and me as senior coach, I'm always pleased to lock away the talent, and those two players were significant on Saturday night. Hayden Crozier, kicked the opening goal, and he's had 17 and kicked 2, and Cam Sutcliffe come on as a sub and had 8 and kicked a goal. So we're really pleased that they've committed to the club longer term.
In a coaching sense, Ross, this weekend, Collingwood without Fife, Pavlich, Sandilands, is this a massive challenge for you as the coach in terms of a coaching scenario?
Yeah, it's certainly the player group. They responded magnificently on what is a really difficult road trip. A 6-hour flight back yesterday, basically, and really hot and humid conditions and slippery, and plenty of starting to fail up there. So we were vulnerable in theory, but those that were picked played their role and gave great effort, and we're really uncompromising in the way they went about it. So that's what we need this weekend. We understand Collingwood's a challenger, as we see ourselves challenging to play finals as well. So, and both teams have had personnel challenges, but at 4-2, at home, we're looking to sort of bring the effort we did last week and see where that takes us. But we're under no illusions it's going to be difficult. We're hopeful Stephen Hill will be available. He jumped a hurdle today. He's got a few more to jump, and obviously Nathan, through suspension, won't be available. So Stephen's the most likely, and then we'll look at Waffle performances as well. But with a team that did so well, we really don't want to make any changes unless we have to. But Stephen Hill would be a welcome addition.
How has the rest of the team pulled up after Saturday night?
Yeah, I just got my medical briefing prior to the presser. There's no significant issues. There's always a few bumps and bruises, as you can imagine, but we're really confident that everyone come up. But as what can happen, we lost Stephen Hill on the track with the last kick of the day for the week last week. You know, just having an innocuous shot for goal, just a little nick. So we hold our breath until the ball's bounced because you can lose them at any time. And I think when you look at the round of the AFL, player availability is a key indicator of success at the minute. So we're working hard behind the scenes to keep everyone fit and healthy.
You said you're vulnerable in theory with the Gold Coast game. How pleasing was it to get that 4 points?
Yeah, it was really pleasing, but it was the way we did it from the start. First bounce, took control of the game, won the first quarter, 15 entries to 7. You know, could have kicked 5, and it was really, you know, vibrant, aggressive start. So that's what. And our starts hadn't been great prior, the previous 2 weeks, so we're pretty keen to do that again this week, obviously.
Sun's been brilliant for you. What about Hayden Valentine? Is that because Sun's playing the pivotal role, or is it the amount like Swallow went to him, or is it a different scenario?
Well, you've played, you understand how hard it is. So when you're in a certain area of the game, I think it's a really good pointer that as a combination they help each other, and I think Crows are coming into that mix with real speed and skills. So if it's just one, it's like having one key forward. They can roll off, but they've got their hands full with a few now. So you know, if Sonny doesn't get you, you know, Hayden will. If Hayden doesn't get you, hopefully Hayden Crozier will. So that's the aim, you know. And look, John Griffin going forward and Hannah are giving us another dimension. And that really highlights when Aaron's available, we can play 2 rucks as well. So it's been a period of growth for us.
In terms of the key forwards, how do you feel that worked? And you know, into the next game, you know, sort of, are you going to persist with sort of rotating those guys through, like Griffin and...
Yeah, we will persist. The conditions were difficult, but they caused a spill. But John Griffin showed he can go forward and take contested marks. So he's becoming a real handful with his mobility and his ability to mark, and which is he could have left last year. You know, he signed a contract, committed when there was plenty of clubs after him, so he backed himself in. He's taking his opportunities, so there's no one happier than John, but, you know, I'm not far behind him. You know, really thrilled for him.
Is he in career best form?
Look, I didn't track his career prior to getting here, so it's hard for me to make that judgment, but he's certainly growing, and we know ruckmen take a long time, but he's had a couple of downers this year as well, so that's 2 in a row. Would like to make it 3 in a row against, you know, Darren Jolly. He's one of the peak ruckman in the competition, isn't he? Dual premiership player, hard-nosed, big body, and he's going to have his hands full.
Is he in his best career since you've been at the club?
That's only short. Yeah, he's in pretty good nick. Yeah, he's pretty good nick.
Ross, what about Morabito? Is he close to playing waffle?
Oh, look, as I said, we're graduating him back into training, so no, he's not really close to playing waffle to put on the table. I am uncomfortable talking for Anthony because he's giving the updates, and you know, so I'd like Anthony to talk for Anthony, obviously, but he's graduating the training, but he's not really close to playing waffle, no.
Ross, with Nat, in the 2 weeks he's got off, is there a program in place where he's doing sort of heavy training mode, or do you just...
Setting up the Alquestro, he's catching some barra, having a relax, freshening the mind, and I asked whether I could go with him, but he didn't want the senior coach there for some reason. So, yeah, look, he's an incredibly hard-working Nathan. You know, he'll learn a lot about the whole experience, from his on-field getting tagged to the tribunal to how he has to, you know, handle the disappointment of not playing. So he'll work incredibly hard. So when he returns, he'll be ready to go.
Just back on Michael, Ross, in the post-match, he gave you a lot of credit for turning his career around. How have you seen his growth over the last 2 years as a player?
It's been enormous growth. You know, and it's a bit of a cliche, but football clubs, we want to grow footballers, but we want to produce great young men, you know, that, you know, become great in the business community, great fathers, great family men, and really good people in the community. And as a rule, 99% of AFL players do that, and there's 1% that everyone focuses on that. But to see Michael turn around his AFL career and then create opportunities in his life is, for me, pleasing. So, but I take no credit. You know, when you see how hard they train and what they commit to, and they're away from the club most of the time, so they're only here 20 hours a week. It's not a lot, but so all the decisions and choices he's started to make away from the club, you know, are disciplined, hard choices. You know, he embraces discipline rather than indulging himself. So clearly for a period as a young person he was indulging. So, you know, he's harnessing talent and, you know, with hard work. So he's creating wonderful opportunity for him in his life. And as an Indigenous player, which we don't like to label AFL players about their nationality, but clearly as an Indigenous player he's a great role model because it's a hot topic at the minute, isn't it? You know, Dale Garlett wasting or perceived to be wasting opportunity. So I think he shows it can be done, shows there's great support in this club for young Indigenous players, and yeah, it's a good story, but there's plenty of chapters to be written, and he's going to have some things are going well, but we know when you think you're going well, you know, there's a hard knock around the corner. So he'll just keep working really hard, and for me, it's great that Fremantle's got an environment as a football club and a development academy that can help grow him. You know, I just help oversee that.
Travis Clyde, obviously a dominant presence for Collingwood. How do you go about stopping him?
Yeah, well, the first thing is about supply, pressure supply, and then bank on your defenders winning one-on-ones when they have to. So we've got two power defenders in Luke McFarlane, who's leading the team exceptionally well, and Zach Dawson, but he'll get support from, you know, Michael Johnson and Lee Sport, and Garrick Ibbotson on the weekend. You know, his courage going back with the flight of the ball was super. So we'll need a lot of help with everybody. If you just leave it to one and the midfield they walk out, I mean, Pendlebury is a beautiful deliverer of the ball. So, you know, we've got to be sort of really mindful of that.
How close were you to sending McFarlane or Johnson forward on the weekend? Did you?
Because we started well, it didn't really enter the mind. I thought, you know, we're basically 5 goals up most of the night. I think the closest they got was 22. So we're rock solid down back, and the forwards were looking dangerous, and it was really greasy. So we didn't. In the end, we subbed out Alex Silvani, who had done nothing wrong, just to give us more run because we didn't need the height. So yeah, it's always in the back of the mind. It's more that Adam Hunter swinging forward, but used to give the Swans nightmares, Adam. But yeah, it's more, you know, keep some of your gunpowder dry for when you need it, you know. So.
Just back on the small forwards, as a unit, where do you rate them in terms of comparing to the other teams in the competition?
Well, to be frank, you don't do that. You just take care of your own. But we know there's some great combinations out there, isn't it? You know, Garlett and Betts got to work on the weekend, didn't they? You know, you see little Davey from Essendon getting to work. So, you know, you look at all the clubs. I mean, Geelong, Stokes, Christensen, you know, Johnson, Varco, all those guys. So, look, it's just, with so much contested ball now and spill, they've come back to the fore. There's less uncontested ball, so those that can grummet and win a ground ball and dance and weave are pretty valuable to you.
And just from a coaching mindset, obviously in the past there's been so much talk about big guys, tall guys, stuff like that, but as you mentioned, the little guys seem to be coming back in vogue.
Yeah.
Again, when you draft and things like that, do you pay
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, but those little blokes live off the big blokes that compete.
Yeah.
So you don't get the big blokes competing. Those little blokes don't make a living. So the big blokes are really important still.
Collingwood seem to be in a similar predicament, you know, dealing with injuries, I guess, throughout the early part of the season. But how dangerous, you know, are they still, and what have you made of them?
Well, they're 4-2, beating some really good teams, and they've added their personnel back. You know, so they're getting plenty back. New coach, new game style, slightly different. So different threats, different opportunities. But look, they're a team that was a turnaround game for us last year. They smacked us, and we went to school on that, and from that moment on we turned it around. We changed the way we used the ball, changed the way we structured up, and we're a much improved team, and we're pretty keen to test ourselves again. But we're under no illusions. It's going to be pretty tough.
So, I'm sorry. That was a focal point for you guys last season, that game?
Yeah, I'm on record as that, yeah.
I sense that last time, sorry Ross, I sense that when they're coming over, they're most apprehensive about going up against you, I think. I think Collingwood, they think they rate you very highly, and the grand finals and all the rest of it. So I think they're coming over here thinking this is a massive danger game for them.
Yeah, well, I don't prescribe to the theory. I tell you, I couldn't get a kick when I was fit, let alone since I've been coaching. I think too much is made about coaches. It really is play groups and leadership groups. It was like Richmond. I didn't do anything in the last couple of minutes. All our leaders did the work in our players. So all the coaches do is give some basics, some front-of-the-mind focuses that we drill in over a long period of time. But game day, it's all done. You know, we just help navigate a little bit. And unfortunately, got some really good on-field leadership across all lines. But you know, it's going to be about play group versus play group. You know.